Well, hi everyone. Gosh, look at this gorgeous painting we're going to be doing today. This is our finished sample of, I call it Soft Landing Blue Jays, and really happy the way this one turned out. And I'm going to, my name is Pauline, and this is Painting with Polly. I own Vino and Vango in downtown Springfield, Oregon. We are a painting party. This is one of my originals. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the paint that we're going to be using, and this color right here, which is in the background, I just got with this, or if you want to try this at home, some cerulean blue, a little bit of brown, and a lot of white, and trying to keep it a lot simpler. And we've got this kind of peachy thing that I gonna add a little bit when I get to it. Gonna add a little bit more, but first of all, I went against my better judgment. I want to talk to you about our brushes. We use a 1-inch flat, and we use a 5/8 inch flat, and then a round that is about size, at least size 8 minimum. Each brand is a different size, and here's our little the 5/8 inch flat. It makes great for doing these smaller areas and some trees where you can just kind of see the outline in here. And here's our 1-inch flat. So always have your brushes wet. Always make sure that they're wet, and just kind of shake them off like that, and that'll be enough paint there for you. So you can see this painting was painted over another painting that that I just wanted to change it, and so you can see a lot of the ghost image in the back. And this is Impressionism. This is when something kind of has an impressionistic look to it. You can't really see it because it kind of shimmers. And in order to get this, I'm going to have you put on some of these trees right now. So I'm just going to set this over here. You won't be able to see it too much, but I'll pull it back every now and then. And I'm going to just take some of my brown, and we're going to cover up the whole, we're going to cover up the entire thing with a very, you see how light that is? There's my pile right there. I hardly used any at all. You just want to kind of get rid of this white, nothing too dark. Everything's going to cover up, when we finish it. And you'll get some of those, as you press harder, you'll get some of those tree strokes to show through. Just keep it really light. Keep adding a lot of water and just kind of swirl in a little bit more to your pile. And I'm going to, if you press hard, you can kind of see a little bit more paint coming off. This is a nice exercise that we do with all of our paintings that I have my instructors do and myself. It's a good exercise, kind of use the flat side of your brush, don't paint like that. Lines are really hard to get rid of when you get some hard straight lines in there, so just kind of keep feathering it, making it work. A little bit darker up there. If you get it too dark, just take a dunk of water and just pull that paint over. And another thing, this is getting us loosened up a little bit, and it's also getting rid of the sizing that they put on the canvas to protect it or make it last. And sometimes it gets a little bit too much. We're just kind of, you can see it beat up when this light wash goes over it. You can kind of see it beat up. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this. It's a good place for you to start in and catch up. You could rewind. When you come to the bottom, I just always like to lift my canvas up on the easel right here. This is all going to be really dark down in here, so it's not going to hurt one little bit if you want to get your underneath that mailbox, especially. The fence goes like that, so after and just keep this paint light enough so that you can still see your pencil strokes through that. Acrylic loves water, and that's the medium that we use. It makes it flow. Sometimes it gets really thin. I'm gonna leave some of it white, you know, especially where the snow area is. But you can see on our mailbox, it's not just, I had painted that dark, and it's probably needs a couple more layers to get a really thick mound of snow on that. So isn't that cool? Put that back right here, and I'm gonna go sideways down here just so I can put my canvas back in the little groove. And this is gonna all have little pencil, not pencil marks, but we're gonna make it look like a fence. Okay, so this is the time where you need to have a hairdryer handy because it's kind of wet, and so this is a good time to just leave it alone. Don't keep adding water to it. Let it dry. Once you get to this point, it's fine. It's, you know, all these other colors are gonna come over the top of it. And so I'm going to paint the top and the sides. Every time I come to the edge of a canvas, I like to wrap that color around. So the pink will be across the top, and the blues will be on the side, brown fence, dark brown fence on the side, and that's something that you can do later on. I like to avoid painting the bottom because that's just going to, it dries and it makes it really hard to sometimes it dries and you just have to basically tear it off, you know. So, cleaning your brush, always have a paper towel handy and just kind of squeeze it in there and pull, and that's going to keep your water, keep you from running to the kitchen sink to get new water all the time. There's really not too much I can do right now until this dries a little bit. I'm just going to take a peek around here and make sure that this camera is all lined up and let that dry. Check my lighting here, and got all kinds of new gadgets for light on this one. Let's see if that makes a difference or not. I'm going to turn this off, and I don't think I need it. I think it was enough daylight in here and everything's working out really fine. So while I'm waiting for this to dry, and that's the hardest part, let it dry. Don't rush this. You want to have right here, you want to have that sound. You know, when you get that sound, don't have it over there because it's still wet. If I was to push my finger right here, you're going to see where it's just going to lift off that paint. See this? Just so now look what I did. So I'm just going to kind of, so we have to just be patient and let it dry. So I'll talk to you about some other things. I'd love to use sponges. I have an old kitchen sponge or bathroom sponge. It has a lot of little pores in it that we use for softening the background and making it really good to go. So I think I might put a little more. No, I think that's fine. I know one thing I can do is I can go ahead and mix up this gray and do the mailbox while this whole background is drying. So got to put some white out. Another thing I like to do is I love to always keep my palette clean. So if you have a paper palette or if you have something like this, we're just going to wipe that off. Keep that dry. I mean, keep it clean. Just have a bunch of clean hand towels, paper towels. That when we mix up these colors, we're not going to get them mixed together. So I'm going to dig in there and make myself kind of a gray for this mailbox in there. And I think I'm just going to put a little coat of white right in here, right on the bottom there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that black. And you don't want to take all of my white, so I'm just going to grab a little bit. Just kind of go until you got your little picture of what it looks like. And I'm just going to kind of make that go down, go around here, pull it down. There's that edge right there. This will have to go sideways too. Kind of hard to go straight with a round, or go into a round circle with a flat brush, but you kind of want to make it, your final strokes you want to make so that it goes down like that. Okay. It needs to be a little bit darker, so I'm just going to pull a little bit. See how little bit of black I'm taking? I'm just kind of patting it. And you could, this is all going to have snow on it. Now that bottom part over there, or the bottom part right here that I put a little white on, that's just going to keep it from getting too dark if there's a lot of dark black paint on my. We're going to come back and trim this up when it dries. I'm going to just go ahead and give it a light little coat of gray. The lid. We'll come along and we'll cover that up. Cover everything up. Should put the fence in first. So my brush has run out of water. I don't. I try to have you avoid, get out of the habit of just dunking the whole thing in, because you don't need that much water. You have an inch of real estate, I guess, an inch, and it's going to suck up an inch of water. So I'm going to continue with a little bit. This is lighter on the outside, and I'm just going to kind of continue. Go like this and then around. And the snow, of course, is going to come off. So just kind of mix up yourself a little medium gray and get that mailbox put in there. I'm going to go around my little birdie. And I like to put things on in layers, so as soon as this dries, kind of, I don't put a thick coat on first, because I like to put a thin coat on, and then I can go by. I can see it's a little bit too brown, so I'm going to pull in a little bit of blue and kind of make it more of a steel gray. Steel gray has more blue in, and with the brown underneath of that, of course, it's going to look a little bit browner. So after that dries, I will come back and make it a little bit different color. And I think I have to, we can get the top of that. You'll be able to see if you lose the shape, you lose your pencil lines, you can just make that bigger. The important thing is to keep that angle right there. This might need to come down a little bit longer. Put your perspective in there. So that's enough for that one coat. There is something that I want to do, and I'm going to add a little bit of blush red over here. So I'm going to have I got a second brush here. I'm just going to take a little bit of that red. It's a little bit crimson, so I'm going to pull a little bit of that brown in there or something, kind of dull it out. I just kind of took a little bit of that red and put it in that gray. And this is just kind of get a little bit of hint in there. We're going to come back. We're going to add that little flag in there. So just kind of stick that in there, let that dry. Okay, cleaning off your brush, pull that, and I'm going to go back and we're going to put it in this area right in here, because this fence needs to get really dark. So I'm going to clean. I have two brushes going on here, so I'm going to pull that off and wash your brush, really whisk it, whip eggs, churn butter, make whipped cream, go counterclockwise and just kind of shake it off. And I want to put I'm going to combine a little bit of that brown and pull a little bit of black. Not much, not much, not much, not much. I always kind of test it a little bit first. Pull it in there. And again, this is going to take a couple coats. So this fence is kind of a little bit jagged. Go around like that. And I'm leaving a little bit of the snow. You know, it's an old fence, and it has lots of cracks and knot holes, and this probably would have been simpler to put the fence on and then put that lid on next. If I ever make another video, that's probably what I'll do. So, lifting this up, I'm just gonna, and you don't have to be real careful. If you forget to add the little lines in there, we can just always paint that snow back in. So go ahead and finish your fence, and I'm just going to dip my brush a little bit. I don't want to pick up a lot of water. I'll go back to my brown and my black pile, and I'll just kind of one right on this side. Little bit of water, tiny little bit of water, just barely break the surface. This goes dark brown on the side. Looks so much better. Clean up those edges a little bit, so might as well do that while you are got that on your brush and you reach the edge. And then you have to do the left side or the right side over here. So here's not sure where this went. I think it's like right here. And then there's a bunch of snow. So kind of comes like that, and then this other little fence post is about like right there. Okay. Couple more right here. It's starting to look like an old fence. Beautiful old mailbox on there. And this is a little bit tricky if you just kind of want to fold that. I'm going to go sideways here. Get that done. It's got a little bit big right there, so there we go. I'll finish that, put it up on the edge right here, and just kind of press some color. Got to get a little bit darker underneath of the mailbox where the lid is because of the shadows, so I'm going to just kind of take some black. And if I finish this, oops, went into the snow. I won't have to come back and add more color, but you want to just keep going until you get it a nice blackish chocolate brown. You don't have to have a stripe of snow all the way through because it's a little contrived, I guess. Okay, a little bit right here. And then we'll let this dry when that snow comes down. When we put the snow that the blue jay is going to land on, that looks pretty good. Okay, so going to clean off my brush, and we are going to, this is nice and dry right now, and I'm going to check and make sure that the camera is all still going. Are you going? Hey, okay, I'm washing that brush. I pulled out all of that dark brown off of there, and I want to do something else now. So I'm going to add some more tree images in here before we put the pink, and then I think we'll put the blue in, and but I'm going to add a little more. I just want a little more kind of dry that, a little more of this kind of telltale of some trees up in the back, and then it'll be pretty cool when we cover them up. So just some brown, a little bit here. You can see some of them kind of come down right there. Make sure you go all the way to the top and not just kind of stop. Some of them can go all the way to the top. Some of them are just kind of snags. Looks like a thicket. Okay, I'm going to clean this off, and now I'm going to come by with my blue. And this blue is going to have, it's got white in it, so white is more opaque, and I don't think I like that. If you see something you don't like, just kind of pat at it with your sponge. You don't want to wipe it off because this is very fresh layer. It hasn't had a chance. It's really not even, it's just a stain. So I'm going to take that blue, got a really clean brush, and I'm going to put out a bunch of it right here. Maybe add a dunk of water, a whole dunk of water. And some of that brown, I didn't get my brush that clean. Some of that brown is coming off, and that is wonderful because I made that blue with this blue right here and a little bit of brown and a lot of white. So if there's any brown coming off, that will be fine. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go pull this out right here, and I'm going to just kind of go up the top and come down to the mailbox and go back up. That's what we're going to work on right now. So let me see if I can get this out here where I can look at it a little bit more. Okay. Right, so it's going to mix with a little bit of this brown. It looks like it's got a little more green in. Just keep mixing it so that we and if it gets too muddy, I'm doing this video here, so I'm just kind of, you know, pushing the issue a little bit here. It's picking up a lot of the color, the brown trees that weren't dry yet, and that is totally fine. I'll come back over there, clean it up when it gets dry. And it's still going to show I'm going to go over the blue jay on the mailbox, because everything else, he's going to be a darker color, and he's going to show up just fine. So some of that up there. And that's about all I need to do right there. This has got to dry, and I'm going to put another coat on to make sure. Now that's the kind of blue that I see in that mailbox. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got this blue on my brush, and we're just going to kind of add a little bit of black to it and kind of see if we can get that kind of steel gray. Let's see the color. That looks pretty good. So see that a little bit, whatever kind of gray you come up with. There's going to be a snow bank right in here, and squeeze that off so I don't have to mix up anymore. A little bit right here underneath the hem. You just kind of come out to the edge like that. We'll put some lines in it, put some white lines in it, make it look like a mailbox, and we'll come back and clean that up. I'm going to make this a little bit darker, and one of the things that we do, that you'll do, and you'll be able to do this at home and move around, and you'll get a better perspective. Like you go get some clean water or refresh your drink, or take a phone break. You'll see maybe that the perspective is off a little bit. Maybe this angle goes down and it should go up, or the opening needs to be bigger. So I'm going to clean off my brush, clean off my palette, get all of that out of there as much as you can, and then clean it really well. Well, give it a chance to dry a little bit. So I'll keep going back and forth with the blue. I'm gonna wipe that off. So I'm gonna come in with my pink right now. You want to make sure that you're not gonna be mixing any. Okay, so this looks a little peachy, quite peachy. I'm going to pink it up a little bit with a tiny little bit of red. Just going to kind of test it out right here. And that looks good, but it's very, very dark. So grab some white, about that much. I'm going to mix a bunch of it up. Now it's too light, and just kind of keep going back and forth until you get the right color, unless we already gave it to you. So that is it right there. So I'm going to add a dunk of water because this is very opaque. You want to let some of those branches show through. And I'm going to start down here and let those dry for another couple minutes, just so they don't melt into this pink. But I'm going to just kind of slap it on and go up into your blue. Might want to stay away if it's still too wet. You might want to stay away from it a little bit. So and we'll just leave that snow like that. Kind of like the orangey. This is going to look so nice. His tail's going to come down into that fence area, and we just kind of want to make sure that some of the pink goes, his wings, or he's landing, and so whatever they do to make them stop, there's going to be some pink showing up in between his little wings there, and kind of comes down from his face. Just to blend it a little bit. And there's a little patch right here, and this is a little bit longer right here. And I think the top is ready. So just dunk it. You can kind of, yeah, that's showing through those. Look at that. We are impressionistic painters. Just pull that down using big broad strokes. We'll come through with some white and make sure. We're going to give this a couple coats. Going to mix up a little bit more of my peach and my pink, and take a little bit of that red. And that's just really, you'll have all kinds of colors of different. That's a nice coral right there. Need a lot of white with that. So all right. So grab some more. And that is really bright, really white, so I'm going to mellow it out a little bit and bring it down into your blue. And this first coat is really important, so let's just get that on, get rid of anything white that's up there yet. And when that, we don't really have to let it dry, we're just gonna add some white back over the top. I like this over here, a little bit stronger at the top. It's all good, it's all what you want to have on your painting. And the top is a little bit stronger. So I'm just gonna take some of that kind of peachy orange and kind of mix it in there. Nice little evening kind of wintry painting here. And I'm gonna go back and clean this up and add a few little more interest right in here. So if you like your blues in here, I'm gonna clean this up. I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna keep going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm gonna clean this up and get a little bit brighter. And then we're really gonna come in with a lot of white right in here and just open this painting right up. So I am gonna go back to, we'll just let this dry a little bit and then I'm gonna just add. Might as well do it now while it's on my brush. See, and I just kind of took some dry paint, you know. Didn't add a lot of water to it. I'm just gonna, it needs water. Yeah, it needs water. Kind of experiment right there. Yeah, I think I need to let this dry. It's getting a little streaky. And do what I said I was going to do. We're going to put another coat of blue in there. So I'm going to take this pink off of my brush. Clean it really well. It's a fun painting to do. It's quite simple too. So I'm going to take this coat right here. And I'm just going to put it on a little bit thicker and cleaner. Go into your little bird. Just brighten that up. Just paint right over the top of it so that some of those trees are still showing through. Kind of want to lift it up high right here, and so that you don't have a stripe like that, I'm just going to bring some of that down like that. Okay, that blue kind of comes down to the mailbox right there. So I am going to go maybe, yep, no, we're going to I'm going to put a little bit of white on my brush and just kind of show you what I'm going to do. While I have this blue on this background right here, I'm just going to brighten up that background a little bit more and work really fast. Now, stop. Okay, the white will come on when we're finished with all the background. I'm going to work on the mailbox a little bit more, and it is up to you whether or not you want to, if you want to switch to a smaller brush. I encourage people to stay with the larger brush until we're doing the detail. I'm going to give this another coat, and I want to keep that pink out because, and I mixed up a little kind of a bluish gray with that. Let's see what we got. Oh, look at the line. Sometimes you just already get the lines in there, you know? And if you put it on kind of thin, and that is kind of a big, we're going to go across the top of it with the little line right there, but I still want to kind of lighten up my mailbox just a little bit more. especially on the top where there's going to be a lot of reflection. Kind of give it some curve, kind of follow the shape of the mailbox right there. Now I am going to mix up a darker gray, and it's just working in that same pile right there. And I'm gonna, how dark is that? That's too dark. That's way too dark. So add some more white in there. I'm gonna go on to the inside of that mailbox and give it a little bit more color. It looks darker, but we're just putting our final coat on here, and all this is gonna be outlined right here. And we're gonna make the inside of that mailbox darker. So, and the snow is gonna come up on top right there, and so I actually think I'm gonna switch to the smaller brush right here. Make sure you get it wet. I'm gonna come inside with a nice charcoal gray. First of all, I'm just gonna do some, turn it on the side like that. Turn it on the side like that. Swing it all together, and then I'll go up and down again. Okay, down the other way. Straighten that line out, and then just go down. Okay. And my other brush can just kind of put that bottom coat on there. It looks deep enough. There's a little bit of dark gray here that we're going to outline your mailbox to get rid of any kind of white line that's right around there. So I'm just going to go down and make sure it's nice and horseshoey, and just cover, go down to that black. Okay, so let's put, since I have this brush right here, I'm going to put the little handle that keeps my little flag out. And I got it pretty deep, pretty big, so I'm just going to put this on the edge and just kind of drag it. Just kind of keep these angles going straight. You can put a little bit more, like a little, maybe there's a little bolt here. Outline on the bottom there, making a little bit. Okay, so I can just clean off my brush, add any kind of darkness that you want in your fence here, maybe some lines. We've got maybe some nail holes right here, a couple of little nail holes, and I just take any brush, you know, you don't have to have your round one. And I just kind of like to make, you know how they look, old nail holes kind of run, the rust sort of makes them look a little softer. All that rust kind of stains that's a little dark there. Okay. All right, so, how's this doing? It's a little damp, but let's put on I think I like the blue here. And down here, we haven't added anything for a while, so I'm gonna put a little white coat on this bottom part underneath of the flying blue jay. And I want to get all the background. You work from the background out to the subject, out to the front of the painting. So you don't want to try and stick the sky up in between his leaves, or his leaves, the sky between the tree leaves, sky between the feathers. So I'm just going to clean my brush and take a light, some white, and just kind of maybe stain it a little bit. It's going to be kind of soupy. Maybe a little tiny pink just to kind of stain it a little bit. And I just want to kind of dance my brush Make it bright. You don't have to go over the whole thing. Keep some of that dark in there. And then this, of course, the snow is going to be brighter. While I have that kind of soupy mix up here, I'm going to go ahead and add. And you can kind of pat once you get it. Pat it, go back and forth like this. If there's some areas that you particularly like, the peach or the pink, you know, by all means, it's your painting, and lighten this up a little bit over here. Oh yeah, okay, maybe a little bit more pink in here. See this, you can just kind of like put little wisps of pink, you know, it really shows movement, it shows action. There's a little bit of pink right here, poking through. I think I got my background where I like it, and I'm going to clean off my brush, and we are going to paint the blue jay. So, we've got it drawn into shapes, and you're going to need to use your small brush for this. I would stay away from the round one, and I don't get along well with round brushes. It's going to be great. No, I just don't. I can make a stronger beak with this thin right here than I can, because what happens is it tends to spread out, you know, quite a bit. So, we got our trees to put on, and we got our two blue jays to put on, and then we got to heap all that snow on top, and then we got to have, you know, it's snowing, so it looks, you know, when the snow comes down and hits across the fence, it shows up more. It even comes across the birds, and it's a little bit harder to see up in here. But we'll have a chance to brighten it up and put our snowdrops. But right now, I'm going to just kind of let you guys watch me, and I'm going to see what kind of a blue I got here. Just going to take a little bit of water and just mix up a little bit. And I'm going to try and see where the guy went to. So I know that his chest is white, and we drew them where they are in shapes for you. So we'll just kind of put a nice little wash. Comes down, and do your little beak like that. Just one, and we'll go back with a darker, getting darker, and there we go. There's a little bit of white underneath of his, so I'm just kind of using my brush here. And I'm going to outline a little bit right here. This is where it gets a little tricky. And here's the feet. Check that out. Just one little poke like that. Another poke. And we'll go ahead and get this area right in here. Comes down at an angle. And some of these are going to be darker. We'll just kind of feather our way around right now. I am also going to go check my camera, let you guys catch up a little bit, and I think I need a different kind of blue. This is more of a blue-green, and that tells me that I need to send you guys home with more of a different kind of blue, a couple different kinds of blue. Might as well want to have this on my brush. I'm just going to go ahead and put this little guy in. Don't pay too much attention to detail, which you much be better off doing is just blocking in these shapes that we drew for you. And you'll be surprised. I'm just going to leave that body unpainted and just kind of outline. See how I just kind of wiggle it like that and then get him different. So we've got a good start for those J's. Right now I want to go get a different kind of blue, so and check my camera. All right, so a little bit different blue. I'm just going to kind of mix that into my color right here, mix it along, and so it's not too terribly different, but yeah, I just a different color on some of these shapes right here. And that little, and then his tail, just going to go ahead and tail kind of comes out really thin like that, and then just kind of drag it. Okay. We'll finish it where the snow is going to come across right there, but just so that you have a couple different blues. I'm putting a little darker in here where his eye is. In the simple, you just really don't need to have a lot of detail on here. He's got a little bit of kind of a, you know, mask like this one does. It kind of goes over like that. And I'm going to put the other blue on for that too. So this little guy here is this right here. Now I'm just going to kind of fling it a little bit. Maybe grab some of that other blue that you have. Different kind of feather coming in. Mix it together on your brush. And much less is more. A little bit of color here and some darker, more black tail feathers kind of coming in a little bit right in here. But let's get the snow on first, and let this one rest a little bit. You just kind of want to tap at it a little bit at a time. We'll put the snow on, and then we can finish his tail dragging across. It's gonna, and we sent you with an outline too, so you can kind of shape it. And this is a really strong line that I just drew on there, sort of to show you where to stop and where to end, and this whole feather thing. If I can see that one right there, this, I like this. This is the fun part. Just kind of, you know, make him a little bit symmetrical, where he's kind of going out, but now he's kind of coming into his body, and there's a dark area right in here. And less is more. Stop, Pauline, stop. This is fun. I need to let that dry, and I'm going to come over to my other little guy and add some different color blue for him, and I'm going to blend those in a little bit. This is, let that dry. Maybe put a little black top on him, some black more feathers maybe around the edge here. Just a couple, so you can get the idea. Everybody can figure out that it's a blue jay. And just like a little mask right there. And that kind of comes out. outline the top of his head a little bit, and the back of his neck. Just a little bit of color there. So you have a different variety of feathers in here. Pull that out a little bit. And I have to finish his leg. And then there's another little leg that just kind of, here's the claw coming, just a little dot like that. You don't need to hook it to anything. You don't need to make it anatomically totally correct. They can see that. All right, I'm going to stop fussing with that for now because I can see that let's get on with our trees. There's a big tree that's going to come right in front of this guy right here, so let's go ahead and get that done first, and then the other one's going to come and set right down on top of that bird. So you're going to want to have your big brush like this, and okay. So I'm going to go straight down like this, and might add a dunk of water just so it's not really thick. You always go back. You want it kind of transparent first, and I'm going to come down, just straight down into that mailbox like that. And then I'm going to turn my brush and I'm going to go back up. So a little bit of a little bit darker on the, maybe on one of the sides. So on one of these sides I'm just going to add a little bit of a darker line. That'll keep it from looking really flat. We'll give it some round, and we'll, you know, go like that too. Just so that you don't, you know, like remember I told you earlier, these lines are really hard, straight lines are really hard to get rid of. And we want it to look crooked. We want it to look, this one's a little bit, kind of turn it like that, wiggle it a little bit, show that it's got some knots in its tree. And I'm going to just grab a little bit of white and go down each side and just kind of put some, kind of bring some, like a birch tree. And that. Okay, so let's do some branches and just kind of make it a little bit thicker where it comes out of the tree, and another one that just kind of goes all the way across there, so it's a little bit thicker where it comes out of the tree. And we're going to put snow on top of these. And here's another one. Oh, this is looking so nice. And if you need to, we can just add a couple little snags that are showing up over here. And by all means, this brush is good for that, good for the detail. So add a little, you don't want it to be too dark, you know, too blackish. I always like to kind of put a little bit of darkness right underneath the branch. Comes in right there. You can make the bottoms a little bit darker, and I like the kind of skipped, kind of broken, little bit broken line right here. And that looks pretty nice. Okay, so the only thing we have to do is I'm going to kind of fluff out my bird, making him a little bit bigger on that side, but I want to add the snow, And you are going to need a really clean brush and lots of snow. And I'm just going to kind of start gooping it right here. This is a little bit wet, so let's just let that dry. You need to put a little bit mound of snow right here on top of this. And you need to put a little kind of a right here, and it kind of fills up that corner of that little post, and then a lot of snow right in here, and then your snowdrops. Sometimes the snow is just kind of hanging over the bottom of the fence. And this is where I'm just going to kind of dance my brush, add a little bit more. There, there, and on top of the mailbox. So yeah, this little bird just kind of floated down. If you pick up some dark, just make sure that it takes some other snow. And then the lid of your mailbox has got lots of snow on it. There's probably other birds have been, maybe it's a little bird feeder that they set out. Maybe other birds have been on that, and there's little footprints in there, little chickadees, and but everybody clears out when the blue jays come, that's for sure. They're kind of territorial. Everybody likes to run. So, I'm going to put a little scoop of snow right in here. Now, let's start making it snow. Several ways you can do that. You can take a clean brush and you can just kind of spatter some snow like that. I like that technique. And just busy yourself making this bright. Remember, it also snows in front of the tree, snows on top of the mailbox, snows in front of the fence, snows on top of the bird. I'm going to wait a little, add a couple of them, but I'm going to wait out here until I finish what I like, or finish what I need to do with the feathers on here. But kind of trying to keep my videos a little bit shorter. You can kind of come in with a little white line, and that makes it look really, you know, if some of your trees got really fat, just kind of trim them up with a little bit of light on one side and dark on the other side. That'll make them look a little bit rounder. So yeah, now I love the snow. In the summertime, I put it everywhere. We call it Willamette Valley pollen. We are known for our allergies here, and our pollen, everything's blooming, and a lot of people suffering, but it does bring the painting together, and it makes it look so, you know, oh, I don't know, not flat, not, you know, not real stiff and flat. And I think if I keep going with it, it's just going to get better, but a lot of times it doesn't. I'm going to put a little white line, kind of just a little reflection, I think, just to make sure. You can either have a dark line or a blacker line, maybe a little bit of darkness underneath of here, there, and some more snow kind of comes in here. This is dry. You can put that coat on. See that? Now it's sticking, and this is what I meant by just a kind of watery, loosey-goosey coat. So thank you so much, and I'm going to get my blue jay a little bit, you know, kind of putz around, add some feet to him, and just have fun with it. And I'm going to paint the front of my blue jay here. Get that little belly, and there's a little whites that they have on their face, a little mask. And this is how I can kind of soften that line that I made in the beginning. This is, oh, it's just looking better and better and better. So, thank you again, and I'm gonna look to see if there's anything I missed, and of course there always is. Put a couple little, maybe a couple little nail, that for just detail, just to detail the heck out of it. Also, another thing that I want you to do is add snow on top of these branches, and just kind of, and then put a bunch of it right there in the elbow of where that branch comes in, the crotch of the tree right there. Just add some snow and kind of push it in there. That'll also help make these branches look thinner and more delicate if you got a little heavy-handed right there. So, and you can just kind of keep going and adding detail. I'm going to get real crazy with my add some white in there with my bird, and I see a little white line right here. Just bring that kind of snow down there. Pull the painting together. If you got two zebra stripes right in here, that's easy to fix. Just go ahead and take some of them out, you know, if it's all the way down, or it's getting a little bit too much, so that your focus is right there on your blue jays, on your bird, especially the main bird, is going to have a little bit of work. And I'm going to put my black eye in here. Just a little dot. Little dot is all you need. I imagine that's the female, so I'm just going to kind of let her sit in the background a little bit. There's a little thing where she might have some feet sticking out where she's sitting on the snow. And then I think I've even got some snow underneath of her. This is kind of a wet brush. Looks good, looks good. More dots, some more snow. And you can just go nuts with this. So hey, thank you again. How many times have I said thank you? I keep finding more to do. This will dry in. One last thing, this will dry on, and the pink will start showing through. So when it dries, just add less water, another coat of snow. Kind of keep building it up if your background keeps showing through. So that's what I have to do for the final touches, but I need to let that dry for a while. And thank you so much, and appreciate it. And my name is Pauline, and this is called Soft Landing with Blue Jay.